Ethan Reed worked in a private lab outside the city. The building had no sign, no public name, no visitors. People said it did medical research. That was enough for most people. Ethan's job was small. He cleaned work areas, logged numbers, moved samples from one room to another. He did not design anything. He did not approve anything. He was replaceable. The lab ran 24 hours a day. Most workers came in the morning. The real work happened at night. On the first night, Ethan noticed something that didn't fit. One experiment kept getting locked down. Not for maintenance. Not for testing. For silence. A sealed unit. Extra security. Extra logging. Extra cameras pointed inward, not outward. Every other experiment was watched from outside. This one watched itself. Ethan logged what he was told to log. Numbers only. No questions. The second night, the same experiment was moved. Not to storage. Not to disposal. To a deeper room. The readings changed. Not dramatically. Just enough to matter. Whatever was inside reacted faster each hour. It adapted. It didn't slow down when conditions changed. It adjusted. Ethan understood enough to know this wasn't normal research. It wasn't about curing anything. It was about control. If the container failed, it wouldn't explode. It wouldn't burn. It would spread. Through air systems. Through surfaces. Through people. It wouldn't kill fast. It would move fast. Ethan watched it for 2 days. He didn't sleep much. He didn't tell anyone. On the third night, he checked internal files he wasn't assigned to. He knew he wasn't supposed to. He did it anyway. The files were clear. Not written for scientists. Written for executives. Timed release models. Population response estimates. Containment failure costs. Legal exposure summaries. This wasn't an accident waiting to happen. It was a test. Ethan didn't panic. He didn't call the police. He didn't go online. He made a decision that ruined his life. He started copying data. Not fast. Carefully. He rerouted systems to slow the experiment. Not enough to trigger alarms. Enough to delay progress. He worked for hours. Sweating. Watching the clock. Listening for footsteps. By morning, the experiment stalled. The system flagged it. Management noticed. That afternoon, Ethan was called in. Not yelled at. Not accused. They asked him simple questions. Where he had been. What systems he touched. Why logs showed delays. He answered carefully. Too carefully. That night, his badge stopped working on certain doors. The next morning, his phone rang. Unknown number. A calm voice told him to stop. No explanation. Just stop. He didn't. He contacted an external regulator using an old email account. He sent partial data. Enough to raise concern. Not enough to trace back easily. The lab shut down the experiment within 48 hours. Publicly, it was labeled a procedural review. Privately, it was chaos. Investors pulled out. Partners demanded answers. A lawsuit leaked to the press. Ethan thought he had won something. Then the real response started. His bank account froze. Not seized. Reviewed. His lease was terminated early. Not evicted. Renovation issues. His credentials were flagged. Not revoked. Pending verification. He was called in again. This time no smiles. They showed him the damage. Lost funding. Broken contracts. Government scrutiny. They showed him what he had cost them. They didn't threaten him. They explained consequences. He was blacklisted quietly. Every application rejected without explanation. Every reference unreachable. People he knew stopped replying. Not because they were warned. Because it was safer. One night, men came to his apartment. Not masked. Not violent. They searched everything. Phones. Drives. Notes. They left nothing behind. Not even confirmation. Ethan tried to talk publicly. No outlet called back. No journalist followed up. The story moved on. The experiment stayed buried. Ethan lost weight. Lost housing. Lost time. Months later, the lab reopened under a different name. Different paperwork. Same people. The project did not continue. Not because it was wrong. Because it was expensive. Ethan never worked in a lab again. Not officially. Not unofficially. He didn't disappear dramatically. He faded. No charges. No apology. No credit. The world stayed intact. The people responsible stayed rich. The system corrected itself. Ethan learned what saving the world actually costs. Not praise. Not justice. Just removal. Ethan did not get a warning label for what he did. There was no category for it. He was not charged because charging him would create records. He was not rewarded because rewarding him would admit intent. So the system chose the clean option. It let him exist without access, without work, without a place in the version of the world that mattered. Nothing about what happened was corrected. It was adjusted. The experiment stopped. Another one replaced it somewhere else. People like Ethan are not meant to stop outcomes. They are meant to be examples, not public ones, quiet ones. This is how harm is prevented without accountability. This is how risk is removed without admitting it existed. Ethan didn't lose because he was wrong. He lost because he interrupted a process that was already priced in. And the system moved forward exactly as planned. If this felt uncomfortable, say why in the comments. Would you have done what Ethan did, knowing what it would cost? Subscribe to Quiet Consequences for more stories about what happens after the right decision, when no one is supposed to make it.